Americans who invested in silver and gold during Donald Trump's first presidency are very happy that they did it. And right now, gold continues to soar to the highest numbers in history. These gains are just an appetizer for what's to come. Some market analysis are saying that gold is predicted to rise another 30% in the next year alone. So now's the time to invest in gold and silver, and that's why I partnered with Fisher Liberty Gold. Fisher Liberty Gold is a conservative-owned and operated precious metals investment company. They even helped my good friend President Trump get elected through their contributions to Turning Point USA and other conservative groups. I have dedicated my life to ensuring that people get the best sleep ever. And in addition to owning a MyPillow, I can now sleep well at night knowing that you can all protect your savings with precious metals with Fisher Liberty Gold. With Fisher Liberty Gold, you can sleep well knowing that your retirement is secure. And if you call now, you're going to receive your very own presidential gold guide and qualify for up to $20,000 in free silver. But wait, there's more. Call now or text metals to 26786 to receive your presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty. And for a limited time, I will send you a free MyPillow for qualified accounts. This presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty will tell you exactly why you need to own gold even while Donald Trump is president. And just by calling in, you get a free MyPillow for a limited time for qualified accounts and up to $20,000 in free silver. So don't wait. Call 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today. That's 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today to receive your free MyPillow and up to $20,000 in free silver.
You ever see this guy with the pillows on Fox? My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. He is the greatest. The My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. And he's been with us right from the beginning.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lindell Report here on LindellTV. This is my new time slot, everybody. We have a great new lineup that you're seeing today. We have some others. We have our correspondents, both at the White House and at the Capitol. And out live from DC, you got 3-hour block here, 4-hour block actually it rolls into. But I'm going to be here every day, or try and be here every day. And people are going, come on, Mike, not every day. But yes, I'm going to actually get back into it because we're at a critical time right now in history, and it's critical timing for to get rid of these electronic voting machines before the midterms here, before the primaries, and we're well on our way. And you're going to hear that one of the segments that we're going to have each day here, let me just get this adjusted. One of the segments we're going to have each day is called Melting the Machines. And it's got a couple double meaning there. Obviously, we want to get rid of the machine, the deep state globalist machine that's in DC and that tried to steal our country, along with the CCP and the Uniparty. That's like a machine. And then obviously you all know that I want to melt down the machines and turn them into prison bars. And we've got plenty of those voting machines to do that with. So we'll have a segment each day. And each day we do that Monday through Friday. We're going to have probably about a half-hour block, everybody, where we're going to take go back in time we're going to go back in time, take you back to the 2020 election, to those months back there, and then we will move it forward, going forward, proactive in time, what's going on right now to save our country, secure our elections. So, but I've got Allison with us right now. Let's bring her in. Live from, looks like you're at the White House.
Yes, I'm here at the White House. Hi, Mike. It's great to see you. It's another busy day here in the swamp. Very hot and muggy too, I must say. This weather is crazy, but we are here and we're excited to be here. President Trump, actually, this is pretty big news today. President Trump just met with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. He came here to visit the White House. They're talking all about everything pertaining to the Russia-Ukraine war. President Trump is now saying the U.S. is going to impose very severe tariffs on Russia if there is no peace deal with Ukraine in the next 50 days. So he is really up in the ante here on that. He's also saying that he's going to send more weapons to Ukraine, which I think sort of startled the MAGA base because we don't really want to be involved in this war at any capacity. But President Trump is saying that this is going to be done on behalf of NATO. So that's what he discussed with the Secretary of NATO while he was here. But during that meeting that was open to some members of the press, another very important question was asked, and this question had to do with the auto pen scandal, which, as we know, our very own Emerald Robinson broke this story. She's been very vocal about it. Ultimately, Biden allowed the use of the auto pen by many of his staffers to sign off on pardons that probably shouldn't have been signed off on. And now the truth is coming to light. Let's take a listen to what President Trump had to say in response to this.
Look, the auto pen, I think, is maybe one of the biggest scandals that we've had in 50 to 100 years. This is a tremendous scandal. And I know the people on the other side of the, see that desk, that Resolute desk? Unfortunately, he used it before me. But, you know, we have our choice of 7 desks. They're all beautiful, but I chose the Resolute, and so did he, unfortunately. But the people on the other side of the Resolute desk, I know them. Lisa, the whole group, and they're no good. They're sick people. And I guarantee you he knew nothing about what he was signing. I guarantee.
So that was President Trump's comments on the auto pen scandal, which we are now learning as of today. New reports are stating that the former White House Chief of Staff, Jeff Zients, along with Staff Secretary Stephanie Feldman, were said to have managed the use of the auto pen for signing a number of official documents, which then brings us to the question, are these pardons still valid? Pardons for, namely, Dr. Anthony Fauci, you know, crimes against humanity for the whole COVID scamdemic. Will he still be pardoned, given the fact that these pardons were signed by an auto pen? Now, Biden is stating that he's actually speaking out on this for the first time ever. Biden said he orally granted all the pardons and commutations issued at the end of his term. He says, quote, I made every decision, and is now calling Trump and other Republicans liars for continuing to talk about this. But it is a huge issue, and we still are demanding answers on it. We want to know, are these pardons valid, seeing as they were signed by an auto pen? I find it very interesting, and I sure would like to see Anthony Fauci thrown in prison where he belongs. What do you think, Mike? Do you think we'll see accountability? Are these pardons still valid, knowing what we know now?
Well, you know, I think there's doors getting opened here, and they should be valid. And Fauci committed crimes against all humanity, and I've got stories about him back when I was at the White House when I spoke from the Rose Garden, and I only met him once. And one of the things he said was, I said, when are you gonna have a vaccine? Well, next February. And I said, well, why don't you bring in more people and accelerate the vaccine? This before I didn't know anything about it, right? And if you already know it's February, bring in more geeks and have them make it quicker. And he said, that's not how it works. And he walks away. And then the president had asked him, well, what are we going to do till then? He said, wear masks. He said, well, not outside. He goes, oh, yeah, outside too. I mean, this stuff is like they already knew everything clear back then. It was all a setup. He should, we can only pray for the truth that he doesn't get pardoned, that, you know, more and more is getting revealed every day, and he should go to prison for what he did. I mean, it should be crimes against all humanity. What was done is disgusting.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. I think it amazes me, like right now, you just all this stuff going on this morning when you guys are so busy at the White House. And by the way, everybody at LindellTV, this is what we're talking. This is our great lineup every day, having some at the White House and the Capitol, and having Allison there. You know, here's our great president. He's doing all these things, and I was funny. I was looking at Truth yesterday, and here he wins his own golf tournament. You know, the golf tournament they had up at Bedminster, and he puts in between working, calling, whatever. I can't imagine. You know, I've sat. You know, I was with them at the White House last week, or it's been about 2 weeks now. I've never seen a better multitasker in my life. I mean, he gets more done by accident than people get done on purpose. One of the things that was missed, that was going on just an hour ago, or an hour and a half ago. So here he goes from one room. The faith leaders came into the White House. I don't know if you get a chance, Allison. One of them's a friend of mine, and he was just texting me. The president actually mentioned myself during this faith meeting with all these faith leaders, and you know, I mean, I'd give the glory to God every day of what we have going on, and that you know, that God's given us grace for such a time as this, everybody. But it just amazed me all the stuff he's getting done, and and revealing. Can you imagine, you know, when we talk about, you know, opening people's eyes and revealing, and when he said back in the day, draining the swamp, and all these things. Who would have thought it'd be this big? I mean, you got just silos of corruption that went on. And, you know, for Biden to come out and say, oh, yeah, I authorized everything. Well, you know, it's too late. You did it with at least he's admitting he did it with the auto pen. You got to give him that, right?
Yeah.
In a way, you're admitting
That's true.
you did it with the auto pen, you know? Oh, I
Yeah,
gave him
that's a good
verbal
point.
things. So at least they're trying not to deny that. And,
Yeah.
but, yeah, I can't wait to get back there. I might be coming visit Washington D.C. now again next week, the White House, I think, hopefully. But
Oh, that's exciting.
yeah, you guys. But anyway, so this is everybody. If you're just tuning in here, with right now we've adjusted our lineup here on Lindell TV, so you're gonna get something. We have something at Lindell TV that no one else has, with having you in both Kara at both places, and we're gonna have so much great coverage on Lindell TV. They is there what are people, what is the other media? Here, I got a question for you. The other media, like when I was there seemed to be kind of a jealousy of Lindell TV. We were getting interviews other people weren't getting. But what do they say? I mean, Allison, are you able to, you know, have you become friends with any of the other networks, or it's just kind of a standoff with the traditional journalists that are there? How's that relationship?
Well, of course, I try to be friendly with everyone. And shockingly, even some of the mainstream outlets who I wouldn't expect to be nice are actually fairly nice. But then you have some others that have no interest in interacting with the little guys like Lindell TV, right? They're just all about themselves and continuing to spread fake news on their faulty network. So, you know, I just choose not to interact with them. But for the most part, I've actually been pleasantly surprised. There are many nice people here. Even some unsuspecting characters are rather nice and respectful of what we're trying to do here, right? President Trump has so gracefully opened up the White House lawn and the briefing room to new media, alternative media outlets like Lindell TV, and that is such a blessing to be here. So we're just so grateful for the opportunity to get to come to the White House and spread the truth, something that formerly never really would have happened under any other administration. So we're just trying to take advantage of that and do the best we can. I'm not so worried about what other people are doing or saying. I'm just staying focused on our network, Lindell TV, and getting the truth out to the viewers, because I think that's what's so important. I think that's what so many other networks fail to do. So it's a blessing and an honor to be here, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Well, you're a huge asset. You are the best. I was watching one of your interviews the other, or actually it was just you yourself talking. I go, wow, we have the best in the business. And everybody, when Allison says there about, you know, calling us little, we're small when you compare to like a Fox News, but we are going to be bigger than them. That is our goal. We are expanding our voice every day. Today's the first day of our expansion. We welcome all of the viewers over at Rumble. We made a deal with them, so we're coming up. and we're at Roku TV, we're on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, both app stores, and we've got our great social media platform, vocl.com, and you can get that at the app store. But we're going to be getting big, and we're publicly traded, everybody, at the, just go to any of your platforms at the over-the-counter stock, MLMC, Mike Lindell Media Corp, MLMC. So you all can be a part of this amazing voice and the amazing places we're going. Allison, it won't be too far in the future, and I believe we will be the biggest ones there, bigger than, at least in that presence, you know. I really believe it.
I think so too.
And I can't thank you. I can't thank you enough. And I'm looking forward to. And by the way, everybody, we're going to have on the show here. We'll have a lot from Allison and Kara each day as we roll out there. You guys are on the hour report. You're on the hour before here, right? Where it's the DC report, or what are you guys?
Yes, that's right. We are
Right.
on with Emerald starting at 12. Usually we make an appearance on her show, The Absolute Truth with Emerald Robinson,
Right.
at 12 p.m. Eastern. Then following Emerald's 1 hour program, we have DC Live starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, where Kara and I go back and forth. And we do a variety of fun and entertaining things, whether it be reading the top headlines of the day, going out and doing man on the street interviews, talking to people in the area and getting them to weigh in on the latest headlines and topics. So we're always trying to bring new and fun and exciting information to the network, and we really get to have that opportunity and highlight that during that DC Live hour, which is from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. So be sure you guys tune in for that because it's always fun.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Allison, and we are so blessed to have you at LindellTV. Thank you, and God bless you. And now, everybody, we have Christy Lee, who has the show right after me, right after this show. So this is our new lineup. Christy, how are you doing? She's a host of the DC Dispatch, and we just kind of pieced my show together today. I know all of you out there are used to me just getting on my show and going 1 hour full blast of just melt down the voting machines and turn them into prison bars. And don't remember, that's what I do all day long. But we're going to have a little variety so you guys know the lineups and everything. And I'm going to have all our different hosts on. But so Christy Lee, thank you for coming on. And what do you have for us today? I'm kind of piecing my show together. What's in the news that you're going to be talking about? They kind of told me ahead of time, and but go ahead. What do you got for us?
No, it's fine. First of all, Mike, I'm so honored to follow you. I mean, this is incredible. Like, I mean, I get a great pre-show. I get Mike, the man himself. That's amazing. I absolutely love that you're working on melting the machines. I'm excited to do more stories, anything that we can on election security. We really want to be focused on that because let's face it, the other ones are too afraid. They're too cowardly to hit this topic because of the lawsuits. Mm-hmm. And I'm just so proud of you, Mike, for being the one courageous person to stand up and say, no, I'm going to use my freedom of speech. I'm going to call things out as I see it. And, you really came out mostly victorious in that situation. So we are going to take that as a cue from God to keep on speaking the truth. Power to truth in that topic. But as far as today goes, I'm talking about some Pam problems. Certainly over the weekend, there were many that are frustrated with the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, in the Trump administration. She's really taking the target for the Epstein, we'll call it Epstein file fallout. So she's really under target. And Trump, over the weekend, he actually wrote a very lengthy post, I'm sure that you saw there on Truth Social, coming to her defense, saying, I stand with her. She's doing a great job. This has obviously caused a lot of soap opera drama in the political world because you have all kinds of people wanting to weigh in on what they think could be going on with this. And we do know that Trump, he is the art of the deal man. We're not going to actually know everything that's happening in the background, but that's frustrating because people are kind of fed up. They want transparency, and that's also understandable, right? But yeah, we do understand that it's his style to keep some things under wrap and kind of play coy, maybe to draw some bad folks out. So we're not going to come up with like the
Yeah, we don't know.
tell-all, say all, we know what's going on, right, with that
Right.
situation.
Right. Yeah. Right.
That being
We
said,
don't know yet, but you do have some good things about Pam, I hear, right?
I
That she
do.
needs.
So it is
This is what we
apparent,
need,
or it at
everybody.
least
Yeah.
it appears that Pam is really trying to redeem herself in the eyes of the MAGA universe. And she stopped prosecution, dropped a charge against Dr. Kirk Moore. If you're not familiar with the story, he is an individual that was going to be prosecuted for giving some patients saline instead of COVID-19. Now, he did this with their consent. He was giving his patients a choice. There were some that did not feel like getting an experimental emergency use authorization jab. I'm sure many of you can relate to that. And so he felt he was giving them a choice. He felt like he was doing the right thing by being like, I understand you're being mandated to do this, but I can do this. And it was a tough call in the situation. So Pam Bondi actually came out and said, it's come to my attention that this was going on. I'm dropping these charges. And he was very emotional on saying, hey, I was just trying to do the right thing. It's great that this has happened. She's also purging, doing a major purge right now. I believe at least 35 people in the DOJ set to be goners in the DOJ. So that's a promising sign. Although we still have some that are worried, concerned that it is the DOJ, possibly Pam Bondi, who may have some conflicts of interest when it comes to the MAHA agenda. And so our shared friend, Alex Jones, he actually posted on X that it is the current DOJ that is stopping or blocking with a lawsuit this ability to take fluoride out of our water. Let's play that clip from our friend Alex Jones, and we'll talk about that on the other side.
You've got this action by the Solicitor General, officially under Pam Bondi, to appeal this federal court ruling that says take hydrofluorosilicic acid out of the water. Now, states across the country, led by Utah, are now passed laws to pull it out. Kennedy is once a federal ban. He's been pushing it. Even the top FDA and EPA scientists are all on record. And then there's major law groups that have been winning cases. We'll put their sites and X post up here. And we just saw the FDA come out last week and say, under Kennedy's direction, he doesn't control it, but he's advisory, you need to take all the fluoride out of the different children's medications that they just add to it to strengthen the power of whatever the drug is. It's an adjuvant, it's an accelerant, it's an amplifier, but it's a serious neurotoxin, and so that's now out. They've now ordered the drug companies to stop it. So what Kennedy can do, he's doing a great job on, but more and more he's being blocked by the goalies that is the DOJ. So this is a hands down known fact of how deadly hydrofluorosilicic acid is, and what it does to our bodies, how it's lowered U.S. IQs massively. If you go to any big grocery store, there's finally phasing it out, but for 30 years, they have formula water for babies fortified with fluoride, way even above the level they admit causes serious brain damage, infertility, neurological disorders, cancer, you name it. So this has been done on purpose to dumb us down. They don't just teach 2 + 2 = 5 in school with Common Core to dumb you down with a curriculum. They do it chemically. And we are the most drugged up, most unhealthy people in the world. Rather than ban glyphosates, they just got approval for one that's 45 times stronger to be sold over the counter. Hey, if you want breast cancer or testicular cancer, or you want to, get pancreatic cancer, this is the way to go. So when it comes to the chemical companies, Trump is really, and his people are really doing some bad stuff. And I've held my tongue on Susie Wiles and Pam Bondi being part of those big legal consultancies that work for the big chemical companies and Pfizer and others. But now it's clear. I'll do a whole separate report on this.
Okay, so there you go. So Alex Jones is worried that the background of Susie Wiles and Pam Bondi in the big pharma is causing some resistance for the MAHA agenda. But here's the hope, because we always like to give solutions and hope, right? The hope is we saw Pam Bondi back off of a prosecution of Dr. Kirk Moore based on people getting loud. Their voices were loud and they're like, this isn't right. This is why we were resistant to this vaccine. And she backed off of that. Now Dr. Kirkmore is free. So if we are loud about this issue, those of us that know about the dangers of fluoride, perhaps she will react in that way too. I think there's a hope in there, and we need to continue to hope that she will do the right thing, because certainly Trump has confidence in her for some reason or another, right, Mike?
And yeah, and I didn't know this clip was going to be played, because I'll tell you, I'm actually friends with a lot of people that he mentioned there. But I will say this, that I agree with you, Christy, that the public hearing from them, everyone needs to know we're in an anomaly in history in so many ways, in so many things that are getting revealed, and they're getting revealed so fast that you can't. Our president can make decisions fast. He's proven that. He's the best multitasker I've ever seen in my life. I mean, and I know a lot of people. I've never seen anything like it. And his team behind him, I think them hearing, he does listen to the people. He does listen to us. So as we put the voice out there, you're exactly right. If you remember, remember our president, he was in an anomaly where for the vaccine, if you remember, for a while there, he's saying, hey, we had the vaccine, we saved, you saved lives. Nobody knew, you thought it did. You thought masks worked. Remember when we thought masks worked?
Yeah.
So since that, but one of the things is he stood firm on there would never be mandates, and he was never behind any of these mandates. And so, if you ever were given China virus 2.0, things would be a lot different, because you look at him in office now, the people that were, I'm gonna be the other side of the coin now to tell everyone out there, yes, our voices can make a difference, but I will say that the people he had in the first administration, they were put in there. It was an anomaly. You just won. You're grabbing people, horrible people like Anthony Scaramucci, and these are people that I dealt with directly. I'm sorry, I dealt, and you had this deception going on. You had a lot of people with self-serving agendas there, and then you had a lot of people that the swamp. So now, and he's even said it himself, and I've said this, if Donald Trump would have been put in back in December or January of 2021, we would have lost our country forever. I'm 100% on that. It wouldn't have been, they would have just kept blocking him and not attacking him. We would not have found out what we found out these last 4 years. And so now you've got the teams that are behind him now. I know most of them. Now, is there still problems? Yeah, there's still problems, but I'll tell you what, they're listening. They do listen to people, and there are stuff. You talk about this Epstein thing. I haven't had the Epstein deal. Well, there's pieces out there that we don't know.
Exactly.
And does it make sense to us now, not knowing all them pieces? All you know is you elected Donald Trump, our great leader, and you just have to trust. But you can still be loud. That's where free speech is. You can still be loud and say this is wrong, this is wrong. And I think it's great that Pam Bondi just proved that, hey, if you're loud enough, she'll take a second look at it and say, hey, maybe I was wrong, because they're making decisions that are. No one's ever had to make these kind of decisions in history because of what's happened over the last 8 years and by what's been revealed. I'm going to tell everybody this. I just thought this up now. Would you rather be in a position where you don't even get to know nothing, like look at the Kennedy thing for decades, whatever. You don't get to know nothing. This is back when they tell you there is no Area 51. That's just made up. And, all these things that just, that they told us then and hid from the country and hid from the people, from us, the people. All this corrupt uniparty that we know has now been exposed. The biggest corruption, and this isn't a Democrat Republican thing. You guys, there's only two things now. There's the common sense party of Donald Trump, and then there's the uniparty. The other things are just sprinklings of what they used to be. But that was not a good situation. I think it's 10 times better to be in a position now where we can call out our government and they'll actually listen to us and do something, or they'll say
Mike,
straight out, I'm sorry, this is for your own protection. We can't tell you yet, or we're looking in, that's what,
I think you raise such great points that there are perhaps still some shadowy figures in the background, but they're more in the background, and these people that are front and center do end up having to take the fall about things they may not even be aware of. So this
Yeah,
being loud
that's
element
right.
is part of it, and we need to have
Yep.
confidence in what he has confidence in. And I'm glad that we brought
Yep.
this up, because then there's a lot of people that don't know these people, and you have the benefit of knowing them and can encourage us that,
Right.
hey, keep
Right.
on speaking up. Maybe we need to make them aware of things that they haven't been aware of
Right.
yet. So we all play our part in this, but I think that PM Body also has an opportunity to redeem herself when it comes to election security, and that would be a
Oh,
huge signal
absolutely.
that she's
Right.
taking the right road. And so we're
Right.
gonna. I know that you're working on that, and we're gonna keep our ears open for
Yeah.
positive steps in that regard. So we'll be patient and we'll
Yeah,
listen
yeah.
for
And I will
that.
tell you, and I will say this to everybody. That's one thing I do know everything about is our election platforms. And I've lived and breathed it and lost fortunes or spent fortunes on it. And I will tell you this. I will not stop. And that's usually, if anybody's blocking that, I don't care who it is, to get to the place we're going where we need to get to paper ballots hand counted like 132 other countries that have banned these voting machines. That's where everybody, you have to understand, the president and I align perfectly on that. We have for 4.5 years. He knows our elections, it all comes from our elections. If you don't have elections, I said it 4 years ago, Christy. I said we're in an apex in history. When you get AI comes into being, this was 4 years ago. I said this in some of my speeches. With artificial intelligence coming in, if we don't have elections instead of selections, we want people that are good people, trusting people that are elected by the people to regulate this artificial intelligence. If evil gets to regulate that or non-regulate it, it's over. You can do anything you want with that stuff. It's over. It can be used
Yeah.
for such evil that you can't even put your head around, everybody. And we're kind of seeing as we get into this artificial intelligence, as it expands, we're at an apex in history right now. We are at a turning point. This is it. This is why it's so critical that we have secure our elections now before these primaries and stuff coming up. But I think a lot of this stuff too. There's another aspect to this, Christy, too, is the distractions. I mean, there's to have distractions where people will focus. Well, people will focus over here, and it's all a marketing thing where stuff needs to be done here. Here's the most important thing. So everybody's focusing over here, going, on these different things that I think we all got to be careful of that. But I do believe that this is why we're in a better position now than we've ever been in history, everybody, and it's because of our voice. And our voice is, you go back to January 7th and 8th of 2021, when they suppressed and canceled 1.2 million people and platforms from on Zuckerberg's Twitter, on Jack Dorsey's Twitter, I mean on Zuckerberg's Facebook, on YouTube, Vimeo, everybody got canceled. That's where LindellTV actually spun out of that. Anybody that has spoke out about Jesus Christ, against the vaccine, or about the elections, you were canceled. And that's where now we can at least get our voice out there where we have concerns like this. And so they wouldn't even be able to hear us 4 years ago if the people are going,
Yeah.
hey, we want accountability. Hey, Pam, we want this, or we want, or Mr. President, we want that. You wouldn't have that back then because we didn't have our voices were suppressed. So you guys, let's keep it, that's why it's so great and Christy, I'm so glad you have your hour show coming up. You guys, this is our new lineup, and Christy went to an hour. I can't wait as this thing all comes together. This is the first day where we got this at LindellTV, and you have been we've been blessed to have you here, and now to have you expanding your voice, which expands our voice, and it's absolutely awesome to have you on board.
Excellent. Blessed to be here. And, it's fulfilling a dream to really, when it all comes down to it, we want to bring news to folks from a biblical worldview.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
right.
what truly matters. That's going to help us have discernment moving forward about who and who we cannot trust.
That's right.
And
That's
be
right.
able to talk about it and be a difference.
Yeah.
Like you said, use our voices. And you've set a great example of using our voices without fear. So thank you, Mike. And with
Yeah.
that, I should probably get to work on finishing up
Right
my
on.
show, which is coming up right after this.
All right. All right. God bless you, Christy. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. And so everybody, I hope you gathered that. I just want to tell everybody, everybody gets frustrated with all the different people that are mentioning out there. Well, over the last 7, 8 years, I've been put in a position where I got to know most of the people. Remember, I flew all over the United States from January of 21 all the way until through most of 22, put hundreds and hundreds, almost 1,000 hours on a plane. Outdid 4 pilots flying around meeting Secretary of States, Attorney Generals, congressmen, senators, I mean, everywhere in this country to say, hey, we got a problem with our election platforms. We have a problem. We have a problem. We've got to get rid of the machines, which brings up the segment we're going to have every day. It's going to be called Melting the Machines. And I'm going to be bringing on Will Hupp here in a minute. Why don't we bring Will in right now? Okay.
Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
Will.
Hey, Mike.
Will, how you doing? And I'm going to tell you, Will has never stopped. As far as I don't even know we met. We probably met in 21. But he works a lot with Colonel Conrad Reynolds, which most of you know. But we have teams in every single state. But these guys have become more part of our national team because they're at the tip of the spear of the tip of the spear. We are it. We are the hub of the wheel of all the election stuff going on in the country, have been for 4.5 years. And well, I was just saying that, the thing before this, you got Pam Bondi and you got Bongino and Cash and all that. And then they've even, brought up people that are out there that, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you letting us see that? Why aren't you saying you promise this, promise that? And what I said is, you know what? We are in an anomaly in history, and there's reasons we don't know. But, how transparent a president that's out there every single day, and he's not hiding.
Yeah.
He's going, hey, if I have a reason and I have to not do this at this moment in time, there's a good reason for it. I got to believe that we have to trust our president. I was just saying, you and I and others have went through what we didn't understand, which, tell me if I'm wrong, I'll tell you, my biggest surprise, everybody, from the 2020 election that was stolen, and then when I started going out there and going state to state and going, saying, hey, these are your own voter rolls, these are your own numbers. I went and bought the numbers or bought the everybody's voter rolls and stuff that came right out of the machine. My biggest surprise was, and you know what I'm going to say, uniparty Republicans, right?
The blockers were our own people who should have been on our side of this from the beginning. And here in
From the beginning,
Arkansas,
yeah,
we have a guy named Kim Hammer who punishes states for going to hand marked paper ballots. He put in
yeah,
legislation, rallied everyone up, and put through that legislation. And now he's wanting to become the next Secretary of State of Arkansas, which you and I have been working to make sure he doesn't. We have Brian
right,
Norris, a retired Army veteran who spent 21 years in the Army, running for Secretary of State. And he's the front runner right now. He's got all the MAGA support with you, General Flynn, Justice
right,
Gableman. Trump endorsed Wendy Rogers, Senator out of Arizona, Senator Mark Fincham,
right,
Trump endorsed. So MAGA's coming around Brian. So you and I are fighting with the Republicans to beat the Republicans. But
right,
actually,
right.
you and I met 22 at Prescott, Arizona, when I was actually working with Wendy Rogers in her campaign of that year. That's when you and I met.
Right.
So it's a refresher.
Right, right. Well, anyway, yeah, and what Will's saying there, everybody, and you're going, well, why are we looking at Arkansas? When we have this segment every day, we can look at every state because every single state has the same problem. Only it might be different. In Utah, speaking of Utah, it's all just mail-in votes. They don't even have a day of voting. It's just, hey, everybody, here's the winner. They don't look at, they don't care. It's all set, preset. You got, I mean, every single state out there, and it's not, and what's frustrating the most is the red states, everybody. It's these red states like your Arkansas. You guys know, in the past, I have brought up Kim Hammers more than almost as much as terrible crooked Brad Rassenberger and Robin Voss and John Merrill of Alabama. These are all Republicans. They're all in high positions. This Kim Hammers, though, that's probably the most nonsensical one. And people, you got to understand as we explain this, you got to ask yourself why. Now, you can sit here and question our government why, but this one you can't even. There's no reason that he could give to. And I'm going to ask you, Will, when I'm done framing this for
Yeah.
everybody, if he ever did give a reason. Here, and I'm going to see if I'm saying this right. In the state of Arkansas and a lot of other states, most states, that at the county level, you can vote out these machines. You can go melt them down. I don't know if you can do that legally yet, but you can sure recycle, melt them down and turn them into prison bars. But you can get rid of the machines, vote them out, get paper ballots hand counted. Remember, everybody, don't anyone say, well, we have paper ballots in our county now. Well, good for you, Special K. They go through an electronic computer. They're not counted. They're in a paper ballots, hand
Yeah.
counted is what we need. No machines, none, zero. That's it. Okay, so
Yeah.
in Cleburne County, Arkansas, and I probably get the dates wrong, but was that January of 22 or January of 23?
23, January 23.
Yeah, so January of 23, everybody, Cleburne County, by their rights in Arkansas and in Cleburne County, they voted out the machines. They went to paper ballots, and Will here and Colonel Conrad were working. I made a couple appearances in Arkansas. All these other counties would have followed suit. We thought, wow, we're finally
Yep.
going to get the first state to go machine free completely. They're all going to go follow suit. Well, then here comes this guy named Kim Hammers, a senator in the state of Arkansas, and he shoves a bill through. I believe it was very fast, like within a couple
Yeah.
months, shoves it through, and good old Sarah Sanders had to stamp it. Is that true, Will?
That's right. She signed it.
She, she had to put her blessing on it. Sarah, who I have not talked to her about this, but we're gonna at some point, because it's even worse now. But what they did, here's what the bill said, and I'm paraphrasing here. If you are a county in the state of Arkansas and you dare to think of going to paper ballots hand counted, we are going to defund your county. Is that the gist of it?
Yeah, what happens right now in primary elections is the state refunds the county for all the expenses. And Kim Hammer's SB 250 said if you're a paper ballot county, don't count on getting your money as like all the other
Oh,
counties will. You're going to be treated
right.
differently.
Okay,
Yep.
and
And
now everybody, let's wrap our head around this. Well, so, and by the way, everybody, if what Cleburne County did, we're sorry, we'll go back to paper, and all the other counties going, wait, we're not going to go there. Now, you ask yourself, everybody, what was did Kim Hammers do that because it was going to cost the state more money? No, it would be less money.
yep,
They
the
save a
president has
ton of
showed,
money, so they.
yep,
Right, 10% or 10x or something. What
8%.
is it
Yeah.
that they would have saved? Eight,
Yeah, the
8 to
president says
10%.
8%. Yep, paper ballots hand counted would cost 8% of a election if you had to buy machines for every county and the
Right,
tabulators
would
and all the
cost.
electronics.
So you're saving about 90%, correct?
Correct.
Right. So everybody, now you ask yourself, why would this corrupt politician Kim Hammers? I can say that. I don't care. It's the only reason I can think of that, that there's this hidden agenda because you save money, the state saves money, the county wanted it, they're their own citizens, but yet you're going to cut off their heads if they do this. This is insanity. One of the most insane things I've seen in the last 4.5 years, where the public wanted this, the county, they're their own county, and you're going to cut off, which would have saved the county or the state 90% anyway. So I don't know. So it makes me think: is Kim Hammer Is his last name rhyme with Dominion or ES&S? Does he work for ESS? Does he work for? We know it's not Smartmatic. They only have one county in the United States, and that's LA County. So you ask yourself that: Is he? Does he work for some steel company that makes the machines? I don't get it. In your Will, you've lived it and breathed it down there. In your mind, why would this guy do this? Why would this Kim Hammers, this horrible politician? Is there a reason that in your mind you've lived it and breathed it now for 2 years? What would be your opinion if you had to say? You know what? My best guess would be this. What would it be?
My best guess is a top-down edict came to the state legislators that said, do not mess with the status quo. What we have is working for us right now, and you guys better tote the line and do our will, and you'll probably be rewarded later with the passage of your bills or your committee appointments or things of that sort. Right now, that looks like the only logical thing that happened because it makes no sense to see the way these people fight for touchscreen machines. And for people who don't
Right.
know, Arkansas uses the touchscreen ES&S machine for all voters, not just disabled. So we never get to pick up a pen and put our mark on a piece of paper. We have to check in with an electronic poll
Right.
book with information that is owned by ES&S. We have to vote with a touchscreen. A receipt comes out
Right.
with proprietary barcodes that are owned by ES&S. They go into a tabulator that cannot read English with proprietary code owned by ES&S. Then it goes to a reporting software owned by ES&S. Then it goes to
Yeah.
Seidel, which reports it to the news at the night. Never does an Arkansan have say in what is happening in the vote of the election. It's all run by that Nebraska company until the
Right.
reporting. So that's our system in Arkansas. We do not get to pick up a piece of paper and put a mark on our ballot.
At
And
all,
so for
everybody, at all. This
at
is
all,
right.
at
This
all.
is there right at all. And let me tell you, ES&S, everybody, is the biggest voting machine company in the United States. They're the good old boys out of Omaha, Nebraska. The only thing different between the other voting machines is ES&S hasn't sued anybody yet. They just have sat back and going, okay, those guys get sued. It's all a big game, everybody.
Yeah.
ES&S did say at a Senate hearing that I was at in Louisiana, the ES&S, a couple of their high officials were there, and the Secretary of State, Kyle Ardwin, which turned out to be a bad guy, but I was feeding him the questions actually from his phone, and he asked him, he said, are your machines more secure than Dominion's? And at least they didn't lie. They said,
Yep.
no, all voting machines are vulnerable. That's what they said. And they said, did you break any antitrust laws? And he didn't lie about that either. He said, yes, we did. They had to sell Diebold to Dominion, you guys, because they were getting a monopoly in our country. ES&S, it doesn't matter. I don't care if I have an Apple phone or a Verizon phone or whatever it is. It don't matter. These are all on the internet. All of these machines, and you just heard it. Why do we care? Everyone says, well, what, ES&S, boy, here's the future. There it is in Arkansas. There's no paper. And then you got the QR codes that are illegal down there, according to the president's new executive order. Here's what I think, and you kind of said it. So you got Sarah Sanders on down, the governor, who's either completely plausible deniability, completely being duped or lied to, or she is totally, well, let's not change the status quo without even hearing what the savings would be to Arkansas. We're not even talking about, well, gee, Arkansas's, what, there's no problem here. Donald Trump won. This isn't what we're talking about. That excuse right there makes me want to just throw up. It's the worst thing ever. Well, Donald Trump won here. This isn't about Donald Trump or about Democrats or Republicans. Everybody, we have went to states that are Democrats that are easier than some of these Republican ones, like Arkansas. I mean, this is disgusting. We made a lot of headway in California until they stepped in and said, "Hey, you got to use these machines because of the handicap." Which, by the way, and I want you to bring it current. I don't want to run out of time, Will, but
Yep.
I want to tell people about and then you can maybe tell me how you're currently, what the current situation is in Arkansas. But I'm going to tell you, the president did an executive order about 3 months ago, everybody. Okay. And Will's going to tell you a little more about it. But the way these states are getting around it, going, we ain't got to do that. We got the handicapped people. We need a machine for the handicapped. No, you don't. The best handicap system in the world was California before they came in and attacked it. And it's like a confession thing. You bring someone with you. We don't know what your handicap is. A machine can't cover all handicaps anyway. You know, if you're missing limbs, if you can't hear, you can't see, whatever it is. Okay, so if you bring someone with you, you're allowed to do that under the confession system, or you sign a little piece of paper that Johnny Bananas here can see your vote. Whoop-dee-doo. It's very
Yep.
simple. So now, Will, knowing that, where is Arkansas right now? I'm sure Sarah Sanders has come around after the debacle of 2023. I'm sure someone's got to her and she's changed her ways. I'm sure when the president called her out and said, "Isn't that right, Sarah? We need to go to paper ballots and God." I'm sure Sarah Sanders has probably changed. Is that true? Give us an update of Arkansas.
Yeah. In Arkansas, the opposite has happened. Our one county who did a hand-marked, hand-counted paper ballot, Searcy County, just had their election commissioners banned for 14 years by appointees of the Republican Party, including Sarah Sanders. They were banned for 14 years for conducting their elections, and they've been the only hand-marked ballot election place. Our Secretary of State currently, Cole Jester, who was appointed by Sarah Sanders, is the head of this State Board of Election Commissioners. And he said that he believes the Searcy County people deserve the 14-year ban and that they have no tolerance for these election commissioners. Now, they made some fake charges against them and then just banned them on the spot for 14 years. So we're fighting that right
Wow.
now. And that was after Searcy County had a 100% audit on their hand count. So they had a machine count first.
Wow.
So you get that quick result
Yep.
at night. Then they counted by hand the next day. The totals
Right.
matched. And they said, now our people can trust that our election was safe because they marked it by their hands.
Right.
We double checked the machine. It worked. And after the 100% audit, the state board realized they couldn't get them on
Okay.
that. So now they came out, and I'm going to tell you what the funny thing is. What they removed them for is because they said they didn't pay enough money for the cameras and TVs that they rented for the day to make sure the public could witness the count. They rented the cameras
Wow.
and TVs for $100 a day, which is a $3,000 a month rental. And the state board said, you should have paid more money for cameras and TVs. So
Wow.
you're banned for 14 years. And this is Sarah Sanders' administration, her
Now this,
handpicked Secretary of State, and her appointees.
right. Because we're going to run out of time. I think I'm going to have you and Colonel Conrad come on tomorrow. This has been becoming, Arkansas has become kind of the tip of the spear here because if you're getting this nonsense done in Arkansas, but we don't have a chance. I mean, this is a people that should have our backs. I want to get this straight. The people in the county decided to go ahead and go with hand counting, paper ballots, hand
Mhm.
counting. So and by the way, everybody, I don't even like this because they're still machines. But at least
Yeah.
they tried, and now they instead of defunding them like Kim Hammer's thing, they went and found charges against them because they found something that they didn't spend enough money of the county's money on cameras. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yeah, and they couldn't defund them because they saved money on their election by going to hand-marked paper ballots. You didn't have to lug touchscreens to every precinct. So even though they
Right.
still own those machines, they saved money on the transportation, the labor, and all of that
Oh
aspect.
wow.
Pre-printed the
Wow.
paper ballots, still had to vote.
Yeah.
But they call this the banking system. When you go to a bank and withdraw a large sum of money, they put it through a machine first. Then
Yeah.
they never ever trust that machine at the bank. They count it by hand on the counter, and
Right
that's
in
what
front of you.
Cersei
That's
did.
right.
Yeah, and
Right.
when it comes to Trump's executive order, I have some breaking news right now. Senator Wendy Rogers out of Arizona is sending out letters today requesting a compliance review of Arizona's election systems. She's requesting it from the White House in terms to the executive order. She's also requesting it from Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, who has the power to pull the plugs on critical infrastructure that use machines with parts made from foreign adversaries. And we have found out almost 56% of machine aspects of it are documented to come from either Russia or China. So that means almost all of our
China.
critical infrastructure is made or has some type of relationship
Right.
to a foreign adversary. So Senator Rogers is now
Right.
requesting a review of Arizona's system to comply with the executive order and also
And that's
national
breaking news.
security
And that's
aspects.
breaking news.
That's
And
breaking.
that's breaking
Yep.
news. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to have you back on tomorrow for this segment if we can get you and the Colonel on. I'm going to dive
Yep.
into Arkansas because it's a perfect example for nonsense that's going on that's blocking us from saving our country. Everybody on this has been the Mike Lindell Report. This is all new. This our new lineup, everybody. Remember, we're publicly traded now at LindellTV under MLMC. And I'll see you all tomorrow. We have more breaking news tomorrow. I got a big surprise for you this week too that you're only going to hear on LindellTV. We're going to announce it right here. So thank you. Christy Lee is next. Thank you all and God bless.
I'm pointing to Mike Lindell.
Swollen limbs, joint pain, inflammation, skin aging, and cognitive decline. These are just a few of the awful side effects that you can experience due to poor blood circulation. And popping ibuprofen is not a solution to the pain. It's only temporary relief, and it's only masking the true problem, which is inflammation. Researchers are saying to add this Antarctic super nutrient to your diet. I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids, but not just any form of omegas. These particular omega-3 fatty acids are sourced from wild-caught krill. Has been shown to support healthy blood pressure, circulation, brain health, as well as reduce inflammation, swelling, and joint pain. For a limited time, you can grab Native Path Antarctic Krill Oil for up to 66% off plus free shipping. Just go to getkrill.com/Lindell right now to get your special offer. Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at nirvantahealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to nirvantahealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally. With everybody talking about making America healthy again, I thought today'd be a great day to talk to all my fellow patriots about the importance of making your homes healthy again. Well, we have proudly partnered with airwaterhealing.com and their revolutionary whole home air purification system. The V3 from Air Water Healing does 3,000 square feet of purification. It eliminates dust, mold, viruses, and odors. But here's the part I love. They require no filters to ever be changed and virtually no maintenance. Whether you suffer from asthma, allergies, seasonal bronchitis, or just want to protect your family from the flu or even greater threats, don't wait to get your V3 from airwaterhealing.com today. Use code Lindell for 20% off in savings and free shipping. That's promo code Lindell at airwaterhealing.com.